I'm in the Mercedes EQS. This is a £108,000 car, so not cheap, but I'm going to give you a lot of reasons why this is a very, very good EV and why we should be very happy that it's here. Please remember to check out our other videos and click on the subscribe button and click on the bell icon so you get notifications each time we upload another video. This video is brought to you in association with Just EVs, where this car and many other new and used EVs are available for sale and test drives. Okay, genuinely folks, I'm up to 80%, 24 minutes. Can't get my head around that. Incredible, absolutely incredible. What a car. The peak charge speed for the EQS is 207 kilowatts, but we topped out at 197, still very quick, and it didn't keep me hanging around for long on these units. For me, the Mercedes looks amazing. My long-standing favourite EV has been the Tesla Model S. It still looks great after over 8 years, but this is right up there, and I'm sure will hold its looks as long as a Tesla. The headlights, like the EQC, dance for you on startup and naturally give excellent nighttime vision from the Matrix units. I think you'll be impressed. Inside at night can be almost any colour you prefer, but you may be pleased to know it can all be switched off if this doesn't float your boat. And why wouldn't you have Mercedes puddle lights to welcome you to your very expensive car? Now, the EQS is long, over 5.2 metres in fact, so you may be a little put off getting this around tight twisters and car parks, but there's no need. The four-wheel steer, which you really can feel, made light work of every situation I could muster and gives a surprisingly nimble drive to what I expect may have been quite the opposite. A couple of things I need to touch on to sort of get you a feel for what this is like to drive. It is possibly the smoothest car I've ever been in. It's on air suspension and it irons out everything. It really does. I mean, I got out of a Model 3P to get into this, so it's probably emphasised, but it really is very, very smooth. Not only that, it's double glazed all round, so it's ultra quiet. There's not a rattle, a rumble, a squeak, a bit of wind noise. It's very, very serene and kind of surreal as well, because I've never driven a car that's got this level of refinement. Even the EQC wasn't as good as this. In terms of performance, without shouting out BHP figures, it's probably just easier for me to say that it's more than adequate. It ticks along at 70 with barely any energy use, but if you put your foot down, it's adequate. I'll do that now. 60, there we go. If you put this against a Tesla, the Tesla's going to rip it apart. It is, but this is just a rear-wheel drive version. There's no performance upgrade here. It's pretty bog standard. In fact, this is only the second level up. This vehicle will go up to around £150,000. Now, I know that is very, very expensive. And personally, if I had to put a price tag on this, it would be about 70. I think it is overpriced even for how good it is, and it is good. But the great thing here is all this that's in here ultimately will filter down into cheaper, more affordable, and more efficient cars. If Mercedes can chuck a 2.5 ton car on the road that bats out these efficiency figures, and then you've got the likes of Audi with the e-tron, which is absolutely barbaric, it's just showing you what is capable. And that makes me happy, because one of the real things about having an EV is being able to get around and use less energy. And a lot of EVs, especially the newer big ones, are not doing that. They're using huge amounts of energy, albeit they are still much more efficient than using internal combustion engines. Now, many of you will know that I used to work for Jaguar Land Rover, and I worked on the X391 program, which is the electric XJ. It's now been shelved, sadly, but it makes it almost a little bit painful to drive this, because this is exactly the car that it was going to be. Beautiful to look at. This has got over 100 kilowatt hour battery. The original XJ had a 115 kilowatt hour battery. It was reduced as it went through the build phases to 106. But in terms of specification, refinement, this is exactly where it was going to be. But Thierry Bolloré came in, looked at it and went, no, shelved it, and probably was a good move.
I became rather fixated by this screen, which shows a PM differential from inside and out. Naturally, I pulled in behind this jalopy to see what happened. If anything, I was genuinely surprised that this result wasn't restricted to old buses, but anything with a tailpipe increased this number significantly. All very worrying, considering we have clean diesels on the road these days. The inbuilt sat-nav is normally mediocre, with most drivers reverting to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but Mercedes' augmented system is genuinely excellent and very easy to follow. All that said, I eventually did the same and reverted back to Apple CarPlay myself. Stepping inside, you can use your phone, the app, the key fob or the keyless system, and when you do, you'll not be disappointed. The finish is perfect, very Germanic, not too cluttered, and with everything just where you need it. The sheer size means the driver has ample head, leg and sleeping room, and the rear passenger gets almost the same with a fold down armrest and rear heater controls with heated seats and USB ports. 2-speed windows are retained, and this is carried over to the seat adjustment as well. And brake regeneration is adjusted by way of flappy paddles on the rear of the steering wheel and is displayed on the lower section of the power gauge. Boot space is either 610 litres or an eye-watering 1770 litres with the rear bench folded, and there is a half decent space to store charging cables and your tyre repair kit just here. And finally, this is probably the best reversing camera in the business, with 360-degree viewing and what appears to be HD imagery, meaning you should be able to drag this beast out of any tight squeeze quite easily.
I'm sat on my driveway now. I have got a distance of 140 miles to go. I've got 64% and a range of 255 miles. So I'm going to reset everything and see how it gets on. Okay, that is me just delivering the EQS back. 137 miles. I'm now on 29% state of charge and 127 miles range estimated, it's saying. Now, I've just done some maths. This has got about 107 kilowatt hour battery usable, and I've ran down here at 274 watt hours per mile. And that was at 70, well, it was at the speed limit of every road I could manage if the traffic was moving that quickly. Now, my calculation means that this will have a range of 393.43 miles, which is incredible. It really is. And the fact that this will recharge apparently in 21 minutes is just nuts. It really is nuts. However, there are always some negatives, and this car is no different. First of all, wireless charging, it does have it. It's down here in this little compartment, but to get your phone in there, you have to remove this, the drinks holder. Admittedly, it takes 2 or 3 seconds, but for a 100k car, I don't want to be moving that to get my mobile phone out. Secondly, in the rear, which is very comfortable, the position of the backrest is just a little bit too upright for my liking, and there's no availability to adjust that. I'd like to be able to just slot that back slightly, so that's a bit of a no-go for me. I wouldn't be comfortable in the back over a long period. Front, no problem at all. Also, the main screen, which is brilliant. The software is fantastic. I worked this out within about a minute. It's just, somebody's really thought it through very well. Totally German. However, in bright sunlight like today, it glares out completely, so you've got no idea what is going on. Now, admittedly, a lot of the functions from here you can have on the main instrument binnacle, but I want to look at this. This is what it's there for. I want to be able to see it. And I think that's just based on the angle. I mean, there's always times when it's going to get a glare, but this is particularly glary. Yesterday when I had the sunroof open, the sun was coming straight down onto it, and that was making it sort of unusable really. But for the most part, I'm really happy with that. Mercedes have done a really, really good job. And finally, and this is quite a big one, is the brakes. The brakes are not very good. For a car of this weight, you put your foot on the brake and it just seems to travel and travel and travel, and nothing happens until the last minute. And then I found myself in a situation where I'm actually having to really stamp on them in a way that you shouldn't have to. Now, I wasn't even really aware of the brakes, even after driving it 140 miles, until Johnny Smith replied to a tweet that we did and said, watch the brakes, you know, they're shonky. Of course, I've been driving pretty much on strong recuperation, so not using the brakes. So when I actually came to, I was quite disappointed. So fair shout from Johnny, he's right. These are not particularly good brakes, and they're big old disc and calipers as well. Anyway, folks, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and if you got this far, we really appreciate it. Please remember to like, share and subscribe, and follow us on Twitter at Kate Phantom, and we'll see you soon with another episode. So bye for now.